Hi dear students, the topic of today's session is software. Software is very commonly known term nowadays. Everyone is familiar of the term software. That are the programs that are present inside the computer. So basically we can categorize the software into two basic categories. One is known as system software and the other one is known as application software. What is system software? As its name is indicated, these are the type of software which are directly connected with the computer system. For example, we can say an operating system that is directly installed onto the computer, and then we have another type of software that is known as utility software. It is responsible for providing different utilities to the computer. Say, if we are attaching any hardware device to the computer, it pops up with a message to install the device driver. And these device drivers are available within the operating system or within the system software. This term is collectively known as utility software. So basically we have two types of system software. One is known as your OS or operating system and the other one is known as utility software, which are responsible for providing different utilities to the user. We have one more type of software in the second category, that is application software. We usually called it app. And there are basically two types of apps. One is general purpose and the other one is special purpose software. General purpose software are such software, for example, Microsoft Word, where anyone can create a document of its own type. But when we are talking about special purpose software, these are the customized software. For example, ticketing system, airline reservation system, etc., etc. Such type of application that is specifically designed for any organization or any business, such type of software are known as special purpose software. Before stepping into the detail of operating system, I would like to explain two very important terms. One is known as firmware. Firmware, as its name is indicated, that is something connected to the manufacturer. And yes, as the diagram is showing up, that it sits like a middleman between hardware and software. So if you want to know the definition of firmware, so what it says, that it is a type of instruction. Firmwares are a set of instructions given to any hardware to execute. So operating system cannot run unless there is instruction given to it. These instructions are in fact provided by the firmware. Another connected term is bootstrap. Although these two terms are very close to each other, but still, bootstrap is in fact derived from the word booting. Booting is the process of starting up the computer. Whenever computer starts, a bootstrap program is loaded at its initial turning on, and then it referred to its firmware. Okay, ji. So basically, we need to discuss about the operating system, that is the major portion of your computer or your system or your machine. So what are the important features of operating system? The first feature is that it is providing a human computer interface. The interface that we are interacting with right now, it is a kind of human computer interface. And basically we have three types of human computer interface. We will discuss it in next slide as well. The other feature of operating system is that it is providing us the facility of multitasking. You can perform multiple tasks at your screen or at the platform of operating system. Then it is providing a platform for running of application software. Yes, all the application software are basically installed on your operating system. It is also giving us the utility of managing user accounts. You must have seen that specifically on public places, we can see two types of accounts into our computer. One is for user and the other is for admin. So this facility is also available by operating system. Managing files. So what is this managing file all about? You can see different folders and files into your computer. So whenever you're creating any file, the memory allocation or the deletion of file, renaming of file, all these facilities are being provided by the operating system. Hardware peripheral. Although I have discussed it earlier that whenever you are connecting any hardware device with your computer, it pops up with a message of driver installation. But still, in hardware peripheral, it's not only input devices, we have output devices as well, we have storage devices as well. Whenever any device is connected with the computer, all the responsibility is being taken from the operating system from installation till its execution of data. So, an operating system is also managing all the hardware of your machine. Memory management. As we have discussed in our previous chapter, that memory is in fact your RAM and ROM. So, the process of entering data inside the RAM and taking it out from the RAM on the user demand, that is also being handled by the operating system. Then we have interrupt handling routine. What are the interrupts? Yes, we will discuss it in our further slides, in our next slide. But what are interrupts? Interrupts are basically signals that are being sent to processor for seeking the attention of any process. We will discuss it in detail, but right now we are discussing about how the security is being controlled by operating system. You must have observed that when we are entering password or login details, so definitely there must be some procedure at the back end that is controlling all this mechanism. And yes, again, operating system is responsible of all the mechanism that is providing security to our system. So let's discuss different type of user interfaces. Graphical user interface, where you can see different graphics onto your computer. Along with the graphical user interface, there is one another connected term WIMP. WIMP stands for window, icon, menu, and pointer. So such type of displays which include all these things, like there must be some windows there, must be some icon there, menus there, and pointer there. Such type of interfaces are known as graphical user interface. The interface with which right now, this is also kind of graphical user interface. Then command line interface only allow us to enter the commands. Here you can see one interface. I'm just displaying it on the screen. This black and white screen is basically your command line interface. Like through this interface, we can only enter the commands. But the important thing about such type of interface is that you need to enter the command or you need to learn the command before its execution. Then we have natural language interfaces, very commonly known nowadays, Cortana, then Apple Siri. These are all type of interfaces that are providing the interface by using the natural language as an input. It could be in the form of text or speech recognition. Like you can type the text into your language or you can speak in your own native language and it will perform accordingly. So basically this natural language interface is working on speech recognition. So that's all about features of operating system. Let's proceed further. As I have discussed in my previous slide that we will discuss in detail what is an interrupt. So interrupt is basically a signal to the processor. Important thing to memorize is that it is a signal to the processor for seeking the attention if there is any other process executed in between. So basically interrupts are of two types, software interrupt and hardware interrupt. So in this table you can see that what are software interrupt and what are hardware interrupt. During calculation, if any number is divided by 0, such type of interrupt is known as software interrupt. You know that it's not possible to divide any number with 0. It will give you an undefined value. Same in the case of computer, that it will uh, turn you towards an undefined process. So definitely in that case, computer will generate an interrupt will be generated by the process to the computer that it need to be terminate the program. Second type of software is when two processes attempting to access the same memory location. I can take an example of once a file has opened for you and if you are trying to rename it. So what are you doing basically? You are trying to attempt the same memory location for two processes. One is for opening that file and the other one is renaming that file. So in that case, an interrupt will be generated or a pop-up message will be generated for you that first of all close that window and then that process will be, it like renaming is possible. Then program request for input or output required. These are also kind of software interrupts, and data required from memory. And it is also possible that it is a kind of software interrupt, that if you want to store any data into memory and this memory is running out of space, it pops up with a message that your memory is out of space. So until and unless you will not delete the data, it will not allow you to enter the data into the memory. Then we have different type of hardware interrupts. These are very simple to observe. For example, if any of your hardware is not working properly, so you will see an interrupt message that hardware failure. And it is also possible that if you are pressing any key from the keyboard and already there is a process in execution, such type of interrupt is also known as hardware interrupt. So anything connected with the hardware is generating any disturbance in process execution, that is known as your hardware interrupt. Okay, so let's proceed further. How to handle these interrupts? So such process of handling the interrupt or such program that is handling the interrupt is known as interrupt handler. So basically it's a program that organizes interrupts into an order based upon the priorities. So what is the meaning of priority here? Definitely when we have different processes in queues, in a queue, there must be some priority among these processes, that this process will be executed first and then later on this process will be executed. So this simple flow chart is also showing us the situation. For example, this process is in execution and an interrupt is generated. First of all, this interrupt will be executed, and if there is any another interrupt in the queue, first of all, it will execute that interrupt, and if there is no interrupt, it will resume the process that was already working, and this process will lead to execution, and this is all about interrupt handling. So again, the program that is responsible for handling the interrupts are known as interrupt handler. One more term is interrupt service routine. So when we have different interrupt in a queue, so there is a priority setting of interrupts, that this interrupt will be executed at place 1, then 2, and 3. This setting is being done in an ISR or Internet Interrupt Service Routine program. So hopefully you got the idea of what are different type of softwares, and in our next session inshallah we are going to discuss different type of languages, because these are also kind of software or data. So till then, subscribe my channel, keep watching my video. Thank you very much.